Good morning, students. Myself is G. Nikita, M. Pharmacy Assistant Professor in Department of the Pharmaceutical Chemistry. I will deal the medicinal chemistry 2 subject for B. Pharmacy third year's first semester. So today we are going to discuss about the coagulant and anticoagulant. So this is the third unit. Topic name is coagulant and anticoagulant. So in this topic we will discuss introduction, means what is the coagulant and what is the anticoagulant and what are the classification comes under it and what are the drugs we will use for the coagulant and anticoagulant, mechanism of action, structure, synthesis, adverse drug reactions, uses and references. We can see, means whatever the books have followed at the last you can see the references. Let's see what is the coagulant agent. So what is a coagulant agent? The drugs which convert the fluid blood to the solid gel or the clot. Means the drug what it will do means it will clot the blood. So when we got the injury or cut at any place, means at that time what will happen, the blood will bleed. So if the continuously blood will bleed, means there will be the loss of the blood from our body. So if the blood is lost continuously from our body, means it is dangerous to us. So in order to avoid it, we are using the coagulant drug. Means whenever we got the injury at that place, it leads to the clotting of the blood in order to avoid the loss of blood. See here in this picture, when we got the injury, see here, when the skin get cut here, what will happen means the blood vessel wall is broken, then automatically the red blood cells are coming out, means bleeding of the blood. So if the bleeding of the blood is more, means it is dangerous to us, means there will be the loss of blood. So in order to avoid that, we are using the coagulant drugs. Like see here, if we use the coagulant drug here, what happened? The platelet get activated to form the clot. So if the clot is formed on the surface of the skin, means what will happen? The red blood cells cannot able to come out. So there is no bleeding of the blood and we cannot able to face the loss of the blood. So we are safe. So that is the meaning of the coagulant. Means it will clot the blood by converting the fluid blood into the solid gel or the clot form. So these are the coagulant factors which is responsible for converting the blood, so liquid blood into the solid or the gel. There are 13 factors that we have already studied in the first year, that is anatomy. Means what are the coagulant factors in the anatomy subject we have studied. Like factor 1 is fibrinogen, 2 is prothrombin, factor 2 is prothrombin, factor 3 is tissue factor, is also known as tissue thromboplastin. Factor 4 is ionized calcium, factor 5 is label factor, factor 6 means still it is not there any name, it means any of the person has been not discovered what is the factor 6. Factor 7 is stable factor. Factor 8 is anti-hemophilic factor A. And factor 9 is plasma thromboplastin component, is also known as Christmas factor. And next factor 10 is anti-hemophilic factor C. And 11th factor is plasma thromboplastin. And 12th factor is Hemin factor, and last to 13 factor is fibrin stabilizing factor. So these are the 13 factors which is responsible for converting the fluid blood into the clot. So before knowing that how the coagulant drug is acting, let's know the how the blood will got the clot in our body. So we are going to discuss that what is the mechanism of the blood clotting in our body. So there are three pathways, that is intrinsic, see here, intrinsic pathway, extrinsic and common pathway. What happened in intrinsic pathway means here the calcium factors are responsible for causing the clot of our blood in the body. So intrinsic pathway, in this the calcium factors are responsible, means calcium factors are involved to clot the blood. Next here extrinsic pathway means here what will happen means whatever the blood clotting factors. In previous slide we have discussed, note that there are 13 blood clotting factors. So the 13 blood clotting factors will be involved in the extrinsic path to clot the blood. So common pathway means nothing but it is a final stage of the blood clotting here. So generally the mechanism of action is nothing but, for example, if we got like when we are cutting anything like vegetables or the fruits, so suddenly our hand will get cut. So at that time what will happen means that blood will come out from the body. So at that time what will happen means the RBC cells will also come, not only the RBC cells but also with the RBC cells the platelets will also come. So platelets are responsible for causing the clot. So what it will do, it will initiate the formation of the prothrombinase. So the prothrombinase is present in the blood only, so it will activate the prothrombinase. In the presence of the calcium, it will convert it, see here, in the presence of the calcium it will convert into the prothrombin. So the prothrombin will be converted into the thrombin, and thrombin will be converted into the fibrinogen, and fibrinogen is converted into the fibrin. So this fibrin will be converted into the stable fibrin clot, means final stage of the formation of the clot. So if you see here the prothrombin, no, it is the inactivate stage, means it can easily soluble in the blood, and thrombin means it is insoluble in the blood. So this is the mechanism of action of the blood clotting, means nothing but here whenever we get the injury, at that place the blood will come out automatically. So along with the red blood cells, the platelets will also come in order to form the clot. So along with the red blood cells and also the platelet, the other things which are responsible for causing the blood clot like platelets, fibrin and blood clotting factors will also come to one side when means at what side we got the injury. At that side what they will do means they will activate the prothrombinase. So in presence of the calcium factor, it is converted to the prothrombin, and the prothrombin is converted to the thrombin, and this thrombin is converted to fibrinogen, and this fibrinogen is converted to the fibrin. So this fibrin finally form the thick gel type, and it leads to the formation of the clot in the body. Means at what side we got the injury, on the surface of the skin they will form the clot. So these are all the blood clotting factors which are responsible for the blood clotting in our body. So next is followed by the classification of the coagulant drugs. So here first one is the vitamin K. In vitamin K from the plant source, means from the plants means natural source. So what is the example from the plant source is phytonadione. Drug name is phytonadione, is also known as phylloquinone. So this is the drug which came from the plant source. Next one is synthetic. In synthetic, that is fat soluble and water soluble. To subdivisions are there. If you see, first one is fat soluble, that is menadione, acetaminophtone and acetaminadione. So these are the three drugs which comes under the fat soluble, that is menadione, acetaminophtone and acetaminadione. Next, water soluble drugs are menadione, sodium bisulfide, menadione sodium biphosphate. So what are the water soluble? Menadione sodium bisulfate and menadione sodium diphosphate. Next, miscellaneous drugs that are fibrinogen, anti-hemophilic factor, desmopressin, adrenochrome, and monosemic carbazone, and rutin, and ethamsilate. So these are the drugs which comes under the miscellaneous agents. So I will say again classification of the drugs. That is, first one is vitamin K. So it is obtained from the plant source, means natural source. That is phytonadione, is also known as phylloquinone. And second one is synthetic, means man-made. So synthetic means man-made by using different chemicals, so we can prepare the drug. In this, first one is fat soluble. Examples are menadione, acetaminophtone and acetaminadione. Next, water soluble are menadione sodium bisulfate, menadione sodium diphosphate. Next, miscellaneous are fibrinogen, anti-hemophilic factor, desmopressin, adrenochrome, monosemi-carbazone, rutin and ethamsilate. So let's discuss about first drug, that is menadione. So this is the structure of the menadione, and if you see the IUPAC name, 2-methyl naphthalene 1,4 dione. So if you see the structure here, in this is the structure of the naphthalene. See here, naphthalene. This is the structure of the naphthalene, means two benzene rings are attached. So this is the structure of the naphthalene. In the second position, methyl group is there. See here, second position, methyl is there. And in first and the fourth position, oxygen atoms are how many? 2. So it is dione. So we can say that 2-methyl, and this is the naphthalene, and 1,4 dione. So this is the structure and IUPAC name. And if you see the properties, it is a bright yellow crystals, and it is a faint odor and slightly soluble in ethanol, acetic acid, and soluble in ethyl ether, benzene, chloroform, sulfuric acid, and also soluble in aromatic solvents. Next, pharmacokinetics are, after the administration, it has the more gastrointestinal absorption, and it is metabolized in the liver and excreted through the urine, but it does not cross through the placental barrier. Means it is the biliary route of administration, and the absorption is more in our body, and it is metabolized in the liver, and it does not cross the placental barrier. Means if we administer the drug also, it does not cause any effect to the baby. Means baby is present in the placental barrier in women, right? So it does not cross the placental barrier, and it is excreted through the urine. Adverse drug reactions are liver damage, brain damage. In some cases, if we take the dose more than what we want, means death also occurs, and also anemia. But this drug has the more side effects, so that's why the US FDA means Food and Drug Administration. So this Food and Drug Administration has been banned because this drug has the more side effects. Next, therapeutic uses, means this drug we cannot able to use for the human purpose because of the more side effects, but we can use in the animals, like nutritional supplements, means for their feed we can use this drug waste. And also this drug can be combined with the vitamin C for the prostate cancer. So next drug is acetominadione, and this is the structure of the acetominadione. And if you see the IUPAC name, that is 2-methyl 1,4 naphthalene dione diacetate. See here, 2-methyl 1,4 naphthalene diol diacetate. So here this is the structure of the naphthalene. See here, two benzene rings are attached, means it is the naphthalene, right? So for this naphthalene, in the second position, this methyl is attached. And in first and the fourth position, two oxygens are there. See here, two oxygens are there. So it is diol, and here the acetate group is attached. See here, in first and fourth position, acetate group is attached. How many? Two. So it is diacetate. So it is named as 2-methyl 1,4 naphthalene and diol diacetate. So this is the structure and IUPAC name. And properties, it is the white to pale yellow solid and odorless with slight odor of acetic acid, and it is insoluble in water and slightly soluble in alcohol. In pharmacokinetics, it is oral and intravenous route of administration, and it is metabolized in the liver, undergoes renal elimination. And what are the adverse drug reaction? That is dizziness, feeling of flushy, irritation of the skin. Why the irritation of the skin will occur means we are also taking through the intravenous route. So at what side we are taking, at that side we can feel the irritation of the skin, and respiratory problems and hypersensitivity and hyperbilirubinemia anemia in premature infants. And uses, it is used to prevent and control or treat the coagulant disorders due to vitamin K deficiency. So what means we will get that this problem due to because of the vitamin K deficiency means the if the vitamin K is more sufficient in our body means the blood can clot at particular time, means like the blood can clot within 3 to 5 minutes for the small wound. So if the vitamin K is deficiency means there will be the change or disturbance in the clotting of the blood. In that cases, the person those who are suffering from the vitamin K deficiency, for that persons we can use this drug in order to avoid the clotting of the blood. So these are the two drugs which are used in for the coagulant factor, means to for the formation of the clot of the blood. But now we are discussing what is the antiplatelet agent. Means sometimes the formation of the clot in our body also it is dangerous. Means like continuously in our body if the clot is there means if by when the blood is going on circulating to the various parts of the body, right? So some if it reaches the heart or the brain, means if it reaches the heart means it leads to the stroke, means like the heart cannot able to pump the blood properly, and sometimes it may reaches to the lungs and also the brain. So presence of the blood clot in our body is also dangerous. So in order to avoid the dangerous means over clotting of the blood in our body, to avoid that means we have to use antiplatelet and anticoagulant drugs. So let's discuss what is the antiplatelet. So, what is the antiplatelet drug? It will act against the platelet function. So, what is the function of the platelet means? To form the clot where the injury has been occurred. So, what the antiplatelet will do? It will stop the action of the platelet, and in order to prevent the formation of the clot in the body. So this antiplatelet mainly used for during the heart surgeries or the brain surgeries. So during the heart surgeries, what they will do? means why the heart problems will come means due to the heart cannot able to pump the blood properly. Why the heart cannot able to pump the blood properly means maybe this is one of the reason, like due to the presence of the clot in the heart. So in order to clear the clot in the heart, that antiplatelet drugs we have used. See here, if you see the normal functioning, the platelet what is doing here, it is trying to stop the blood clot. Yes, so in order to avoid the blood clot in the body, this antiplatelet we have to use. Next, classification means what are the drugs we are used for the antiplatelet. So first one is COX-1 inhibitor, that is aspirin. Next one is thienopyridine derivative adenosine diphosphate. Name is thienopyridine derivative adenosine diphosphate. Example is uh, clopidogrel and ticlopidine. What are they? Clopidogrel and ticlopidine. Next, adenosine diamase and phosphoesterase inhibitors and adenosine reuptake inhibitors. So here what are the drugs will come? Dipyrimidine and clistozazole. Drug name is ciclostazole, and next one is glycoprotein GP2B or 3A inhibitors. So what are the drugs will come? Eptifibatide and tirofiban. So these are the drugs which comes under the antiplatelet agents, that are COX-1 inhibitors, thienopyridine derivative, adenosine diphosphate, adenosine diamase and phosphoesterase inhibitor and adenosine reuptake inhibitors, and also the last one is 3A inhibitors. So these are the drugs which comes under the antiplatelet agents. So in this first drug is clopidogrel. So drug name is clopidogrel, and this is the structure. And if you see the IUPAC name is methyl 2-chlorophenyl 2-thienopyridine 5-YL acetate. I will repeat it again. Methyl 2-chlorophenyl 2-thienopyridine 5-YL acetate. So if you see the structure here, in middle we can see the methyl group, CH3. So for this methyl group, see here methyl group, and this is the acetate structure. See here acetate structure. So for this acetate structure, in the second position, see here 2 is there, no? In the second position, the chlorophenyl is there. The chlorine is attached at the second position of the phenyl. See here, in the second position to the phenyl. So it is named as the 2-chlorophenyl. And here in the second position, this thienopyridine. Thieno means sulfur. So thio means the name of the sulfur atom. So it is named as the thienopyridine. In which position it is attached? So it is a fifth position. See here, in the fifth position it is attached to the methyl group. So it is named as thienopyridine 5-YL acetate. So it is methyl 2-chlorophenyl and 2-thienopyridine 5-YL acetate. So this is a structure and IUPAC name. If you see the properties, it is the white crystalline and soluble in water and methanol. In most cases, it is available in the clopidogrel hydrogen sulfate. So next, pharmacokinetics are, it is the oral route of administration, and it is a prodrug. Means what is the meaning of the prodrug? Before administration of the drug, it is in inactive form. Means the drug is inactive form before administration of the drug. When we administer the drug, when it reaches to the particular site, means that is liver. So in liver it get metabolized, by using the cytochrome enzyme. At that place it will get converted into the active metabolite. Then it will distribute it at what site we require the drug. At that site it will get distributed, and remaining metabolites, unnecessary metabolites, will be eliminated from the body in the form of urine or the feces. Means it is the oral route of administration. Means before administration through the oral route, it is the prodrug. Prodrug means it is inactivated in this stage. After the administration, when it reaches to the particular site, it get converted into the active form. Means inactive form to active form. Then it is metabolized in the liver to cytochrome enzyme, and it will distribute it to the body at what site it required the action, and that remaining unnecessary metabolites will be eliminated through the urine or feces. Next, adverse drug reactions are headache, dizziness, feeling of the nausea, diarrhea or constipation, indigestion, stomach ache, abdominal pain, nose bleeds, and also increasing the bleeding time. Means the more increasing of the bleeding time is also problem. So this is the main adverse drug effect in this drug. I said no, that this antiplatelet drugs has been used mainly during the heart treatment. Like it is used to prevent of the heart stroke and also ischemic attack. And this drug is combined with the aspirin in order to avoid the heart problems. And it is used in the open heart operation and also the treatment of peripheral arterial disease. And it is used in the vascular operation. So this drug is used in order to avoid the heart problems. Means the heart problems will come due to the forming of the clot of the blood in the heart. It may be the due to of any of the reasons, like due to the presence of the cholesterol or the clotting of the blood. So for that purpose, in order to avoid the heart problems, or during the heart surgeries, for this purpose we will use the drug. So till now we have discussed that what is the coagulant and what is the antiplatelet. So can we revise it again? That coagulant means the formation of the clot in the blood. Antiplatelet means it will stop the action of the platelet function, means it will stop the formation of the clot in the blood. And what is the anticoagulant, and what is the difference between the antiplatelet and the anticoagulant agent? Let's see. So anticoagulant means what it will do means it will also inhibit the formation of the clot in the body, but not permanently. So it will prolong the or extend the action coagulation time of the blood. Means for example, the normal clotting of the blood is, let's assume that 5 to 15 to 20 minutes for the normal coagulation, but in the anticoagulant what it will do means it will extend the coagulation of the time. Means for example 10 to 15 times we have taken as an example, but in this case it will extend maybe to the 4 to 5 hours. Means the coagulation of the blood, means clotting of the blood, is compulsory in this case, but it will extend the formation of the clot. Means it will extend the time of the formation of the clot in the body. But for the antiplatelet, what will happen means it will completely remove the clot from our body. So that is the difference. Anticoagulant means it will extend the coagulation of the time, but in the antiplatelet what will happen means it will completely remove the clot from our body. So that is a main difference from the anticoagulant drugs and antiplatelet. So what are the characters that we required for before taking the anticoagulant agent? Means it should show the rapid onset of action. Means if we take the drug, that within a few minutes it should show the action. So then we can say that the drug is good. Means if we take the drug and it does not show the any action whenever means at the time we require, means it is not a good drug. So if it shows the good onset of the action, means it is the good drug. And also it should have the longer duration of the action, and it should have the less adverse drug reactions, and it should not form the interaction with other drugs. Means the person can suffer from any other problems like maybe diabetes or the sugar, maybe blood pressure. So whatever the patient is taking another drugs, with that this drug should not form the interaction. And also the whatever the food the person taken, means it should not form the interaction with other drugs and also the food. And also the it should means the So these are the ideal characters for the anticoagulants. What are there? It should show the rapid onset of action and longer duration of action, less side effects, and it should not form the interaction with drugs and the food. So let's see the classification of the anticoagulant. So based upon the action. So there are two types, directly acting and indirectly acting. So if we see the directly acting anticoagulant, first one is high molecular weight heparin. Second one is low molecular weight heparin. Third one is new heparin derivatives. So in low molecular weight heparins, what are there? Dalparins and enoxaparin. So these are the two drugs which comes under the low molecular weight heparin. Next, new heparin derivatives, that is for fondaparinux and idraparinux. So these are the drugs which comes under the directly acting anticoagulant. Next, indirectly acting anticoagulants, what are their? Coumarin derivatives and indonione derivatives. So if we see the coumarin derivatives, that is warfarin is the main drug. And if we see the another indonidone derivatives, that is phenindione and aninsindione. These are the two drugs which comes under the indonione derivatives. So this is the classification based upon the action, that is directly acting, and next one is indirectly acting. So next one, based upon the route, means what route we are taking, that is oral route and injectable route. So there are two types, that is injectable anticoagulants and oral anticoagulants. So in the injectable anticoagulants, that is heparin, low molecular weight heparin and heparin sulfate and danaparoid. So these are the and miscellaneous drugs. So these are the drugs which comes under the injectable anticoagulants. Means either injectable means it may be the intravenous or intramuscular route of administration, and oral route of administration, that is coumarin derivatives and indonione derivatives. If you see the coumarin derivatives, that is dicumarol and warfarin sodium acinocumarol, and indonidone derivatives, that is phenindione and ansindione. So these are the drugs